care about the future, cause they live it in the past. Sal and Curt are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys.
Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was.
Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat.
So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know.
All right, let's talk Blossom, man. Let's do
Blossom time. Episode 6, and boy did I have high hopes. I thought, episode 6, you know which character this is going to revolve around. It did not.
No.
It did not.
Well, it kind of did.
As much as it... Yeah, I guess this is probably the most shine she's had, actually, now that you mention it. This is the most screen time 6 has had.
It was normally she'd be like one scene and she was out.
Yeah.
So, season 1, episode 6, titled I Ain't Got No Buddy. First aired February 11th, 1991.
Give me 2 synopses.
All right. Here we go. Disney Plus. Blossom feels betrayed by her best friend.
Is it a contest to see how few words they can use each
I
week?
think so, yeah. It's like you can tweet things longer than these.
Yeah. Their heart is not in it over at Disney+.
No. All right, so our boy Richard, his synopsis this week. Blossom feels left out when 6 befriends a chic new student.
Oh.
Right? The kids keep Nick from seeing his divorce papers.
Both things true.
Interesting episode, I must say, man.
That colors it in a little more than the old Disney Plus one.
Yeah. I mean, it always
Although
does.
I have to admit, the Disney Plus ones make me happier each week when you read them. Because there's so many questions with that, too. Are they over there knitting stars, or what are they doing while they're writing these synopses?
Disney phoning it in. What?
Oh, come on. Don't besmirch Disney.
No, we want their money.
Next time I go, I'll make a TGIF-style intro for my family's vacation there.
Awesome.
Standing tall on the wave of our dreams.
Rise and fall on the wings of my dreams. Rain and thunder, wind and haze. I'll be bound for better days.
Ah,
It's my life, my dreams. Nothing's gonna stop me now.
God, what happened to that?
I
Where
love
did
that
that
show,
go?
man.
Although it's a little racist by today's standards. They're making fun of this foreign person who's a simpleton, essentially, is, 95% of the humor in it. He doesn't know. He's not from around here. But, damn it, his heart of gold will have you learning lessons each time that maybe your way isn't the right way.
Well, he's from a fictional country, so it doesn't count.
It so counts. Oh, look, he's not from America. He put his socks on his hands. Oh, Balky.
I love that episode.
He tried to drive the car from the trunk. He thought baby formula made babies. Oh, Balky. Speaking of intros, possibly the only intro better than the Perfect Strangers intro begins. Then I mentioned this episode better be all about 6.
It goes into Blossom's bedroom, and her and 6 are studying French before school. There's no way I'd be at my friend's house at like 6 in the morning studying French.
It is 6 in the morning because a little later when they leave, it's 7:30 a.m. and they have already been studying for a while.
Yes.
They mentioned that it's 7:30 a.m. when they stop studying, which is crazy.
The words that they learn are un, deux, and trois.
Yep.
So then Blossom says, why are we even learning French? We should speak what Americans speak. We should speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I also noted that Blossom is wearing a big yellow hat, and I can't help but wonder what hijinks her cheeky monkey is currently getting itself into. Then I mentioned the Spanish joke, and I wrote, quote, and we're off for another week.
We sure are.
6 does have to go to school. It's only 7:30 a.m. Six has been asked to show the new kid around today. So the 90s sitcom cynic in me says either it's going to be a female that comes between her and Blossom, or an attractive guy that comes between her and Blossom. Or maybe the girl's a bad influence. Something's up. But knowing these writers, they'll probably give us the ultimate Blossom swerve, and it'll be none of those. And for the next 20 minutes, we'll just see Six showing the new girl around the school, which will be a bridge to nowhere.
I mean, that's an accurate guess.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so Six says that the guidance counselor picked her to show the new kid around the school. And I'm just thinking, like, what did Six do to deserve that punishment? That would be a nightmare. Who wants to do that? Like, they're like, hey, you have to come to school early on Monday to show a new kid around. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to be there for that.
Can you be here at 7:45?
Yeah, I'll be there. And then I would just not show up. That sounds awful.
No.
So then on the way out, Six mentions that there's a big concert coming up this weekend. It's a band from England called Rupture. And she asks Blossom if she wants to go, and Blossom kind of seems unsure.
Well, the band is famous for throwing up on the crowd.
Yes.
90s kids would be into that.
That sent me down a weird rabbit hole.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just trying to think of, like, you know, there's like the band Gwar. Wasn't their thing like blood on the audience, and like Evil Dead the musical? Wasn't that a thing too?
Yeah, Gwar would have elaborate stage shows where monsters would eat people from the audience. If you were chosen, you could come up and then this, like, monster would eat you on stage.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of, like, what other kind of, like, audience participation where you would get blood or stuff on you like that. And it just automatically, my mind went to Gallagher.
Is he still out there squashing melons?
He is, man. If you go to GallagherSmash.com, it has all information about Gallagher. And here's what I found most interesting.
Is that it blocked you from your work computer, typing in Gallagher Smash?
Not this time.
Okay.
But, Curtis, do you want an unforgettable wedding? Gallagher can officiate your wedding with a personalized ceremony that is sure to be memorable and unique. Smashing cake in each other's face is not nearly as cool as having Gallagher smash the cake. And I can't agree more.
That sounds like something I want to do.
I feel like I have to book Gallagher now.
To end this show, let's pretend we're getting married and book Gallagher. See what happens. That'll be our final. You know, and I'm not convinced Gallagher isn't going to show up on some episode. Gallagher seems like the perfect guest star for an episode of Blossom.
You're totally right.
I almost want to put a wager that we're going to see Gallagher at some point in, like, season 2. When they start running out of A-listers.
I could just picture Gallagher today reading the news about, like, the potential Blossom reboot, and he's like that guy in, like, the yellow suit behind the tree rubbing his hands like, oh boy, Gallagher's time is coming.
I imagine him in his garage, like, throwing giant mallets sideways into the back of his convertible and, like, yeah, rubbing his hands together, be like, Gallagher, it's your day, old man, it's your day. He's been texting the cast, like, every hour since the show ended. They've all had to switch cell phones because Gallagher won't leave him alone. And Jenna Von Oy has guards at her gate to make sure he doesn't come in. And he still stops by every day and pretends like she called him. Nah, it's cool. Von Oy asked me to stop by. She didn't, Mr. Gallagher. You have to leave. We've talked about this. Then it ends with him jumping and trying to climb the fence and security pulling him down and tasing him. It's just like... At this point, they're like, can we just skip to the part where we tase you? And he still has to go through the motions of pretending she invited him over.
Yeah, so that's what Gallagher's up to these days. Has nothing to do with this episode, but I just wanted to let everybody know.
Yeah, so the band throws up on the crowd. That's their claim to fame.
Yeah.
90s kids would think that's awesome. Kids today would tweet about how unsanitary that is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nobody would be into that.
And probably they'd probably be like, the band looks like they haven't been getting a full 8 hours of sleep or drinking enough water either.
Yeah. Post-COVID anyways, I would see acts like that going by the wayside anyways.
It's true. We'll bring it back.
There's going to be nothing like that going forward. Sorry, Gallagher.
I'm going to bring a Gallagher cover. It's going to be a Rupture cover band of 5 members that look like Gallagher. It's going to be the ultimate rabbit hole Blossom callback. So the band Rupture, which we never get to see, it's going to be all them, only everyone's going to be dressed as Gallagher, and they're going to throw up and smash stuff.
Amazing.
And all I have to do is show up at Jenna Von Oy's house every day and try to convince security that she invited me over to pitch this to her.
You would do that anyway.
Behind Gallagher's car, honking his horn.
Driving up in like an old school Volkswagen Beetle. My mallets are in the back.
And you can hear her voice on the intercom. She's like, definitely Mace. I'm sorry, Mr. Gallagher. Here we go again. His eyes are just permanently red now from all of Jenna Von Oy's security mace. He's swerving as he's driving away with his coat sleeve over his burning eyes. He's knocking over plants and stuff. I don't think there's too many layers to Gallagher. I don't think he'd be an expert on wordplay.
No, that's
and the subtle art of seduction.
Although,
go over his head.
although if he didn't sell tour T-shirts that say "I got smashed by Gallagher," like what is he doing?
He's throwing away money, is what he's doing. That doesn't even make sense. I got smashed by Gallagher.
Why not?
That doesn't make sense.
He smashed.
She's not smashing you with a mallet. I'm starting to wonder if you even know what Gallagher does.
No, I don't.
That is the greatest and worst shirt I've ever heard. I'm going to make it tomorrow. I got smashed by Gallagher. All right.
Whew. I love doing this podcast, man.
Blossom does not want to go see the band. And
No.
right away, I lean forward and assume the new girl will want to see the band.
Of course she will.
They say goodbye in French, and Blossom says, blah, 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 Viva Las Vegas. And I'm reminded of another Adult Swim show, and I want to say, I call it Lost Wages.
Nice.
Yeah.
Frisky
Thanks.
dingo.
Oh, it was only a matter of time before I referenced that.
Good times, man. And so at this part, too, it's also revealed that apparently every Monday, Blossom and Six go to the mall.
Yeah. That's not foreshadowing at all.
So I put all good between Blossom and Six for now.
Rubs hands together.
Yeah. Also, side note, for our Instagram, I want to use that meme, but Photoshop Gallagher's face over it to promote this episode.
You should just say Blossom episode 6. I got smashed by Gallagher. Just leave it at that.
That's good stuff. What about
So the melon made a shirt? Is that what's happening in your world?
Yeah, it's like a cartoon of a melon smashing itself with a hammer. No, that doesn't make sense either. All right, we're gonna rebrand this.
Gallagher made a mess on me. That's sadly the most accurate.
Holy shit.
Gallagher, it's your turn.
Oh my god.
Oh, God. He has nothing to do with this episode.
That's the best part. Oh my god, I'm crying, man.
Why is Gallagher so funny? It's because you know there's a sadness, right? Like,
There's gotta be something.
Gallagher is not someone who married and had kids and takes his family to McDonald's in the park, right?
He has a really weird story, though. Isn't he, like, in a legal dispute with, like, his brother who stole his act? His brother, like, stole his act and, like, went around as Gallagher, too.
He probably smashed, like, pineapples and was like, nah, bro, it's completely different. Completely different.
This is totally different.
Just think of his face right now. Think of Gallagher. Think of him behind the press photo of the Russo family for this show. Just over Joey and Anthony's shoulders. Just standing there. Now, Uncle Gallagher, I'm having problems at school. What should I do? You smash it! You smash it! You smash it, Blossom! You smash it! You smash it because you're so angry about things you can't control!
I really miss Agnes. No more Agnes! Only Gallagher!
He's wearing her face. We're in the kitchen, and Joey hates math.
Blossom says if he puts half as much time into algebra as he does into sex education, he'd be a whiz at math.
Joey says if he could be a wizard of math or a wizard of sex, he knows where he'll be whizzing, and that joke would still land today. That's clever. If they made a show in 2021 and used that exact same joke, it would still be a hit. I'm not being facetious. That's pretty well thought out.
Blossom asks what's on the counter, and it's from the lawyers of their mother, and it's the final divorce papers. This brings in a major conflict in this episode. So they start arguing over who should give their dad the divorce papers, and they don't want to do it because obviously they don't want to upset him. Why does anybody have to give him the papers? Why couldn't they just leave it on the counter and he could just discover them himself?
And why do they think he still cares?
Yeah.
Last episode he was trying to Gallagher the clarinet chick. Right?
Very
He's
true.
not sitting at home looking at his hands, wishing his wife would come home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And he's already had a girlfriend in episode 3.
They've painted the picture that he's moved on from his marriage.
Your boy's moved on, guys. Anthony comes in hot. He has $1 million screenplay idea. The title of his movie is Naked Chick Academy, which Joey gives the thumbs up.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know what to do with this joke.
I don't either. When he came in frantically, he was like, he's heard of a guy who got $3 million for writing a script, and he has what it takes to write a movie.
Long sleeves again.
I did notice that. I took note of that this time.
Yeah, look for it. See, I know what they were doing with Naked Chick Academy. That's showing his ignorance.
Right.
Would that be acceptable in 2021? If it was used in that way to show his male ignorance, or would that just be something they avoid altogether?
I don't know. I feel like there would probably be a way that that punchline would kind of get made a little more safe.
Oh, yeah. What would happen at Naked Chick Academy? I wanted to go a little bit deeper. Joey gives it the thumbs up. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's all in.
Anthony mentions being in AA, which twists the knife because the only time he didn't mention his drug-fueled past was the time I had the best joke so far of the cast a few episodes ago, but right. I don't need to revisit that. But I look for it.
Yeah,
the one time he doesn't mention it, my joke failed.
As they're still deciding who's going to give Nick the divorce papers, they bring it to Anthony, and he says he'll handle it. And he says he learned in AA that pain is a part of life. And I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke or not, and I don't think the audience did either. There was some very awkward laughter coming from the crowd.
No, I mentioned that. There's a few times they trip up the audience in this episode, and I'm looking for it now. So Nick comes in. He kicks in the kitchen door. He's miserable. He's mad because he did a favor for his friend, Bill Richmond.
Yeah, he said ex-friend Bill Richmond because of the gig that he worked the night before.
Do you have any thoughts on Bill Richmond?
No. What do you got?
I wondered if Bill Richmond was a real person. Because they like to name drop when it comes to Nick and his friends. So I did a little research, and the only thing I could find on Bill Richmond was he was born into slavery, arranged fights with other British soldiers for the entertainment of his guests, and was freed, where he moved and married. And he started boxing in his 40s, in the early 1790s. He married a local Englishwoman whose name was probably Mary Dunwick, and they had several children. Probably not the same guy.
I would assume not.
I went down a rabbit hole with Bill Richmond, and it turned into Django Unchained. Seriously, basically, I'm not joking. He was a slave that would fight like other slaves, as far as I could see, which was kind of took me out of the episode for a second. I was like, holy crap, that's dark stuff, man.
Was Django Unchained loosely based on Bill Richmond's life?
Maybe.
Crazy.
Yeah, he became well-dressed and literate and self-confident. So he became a target for racial hatred in Yorkshire. And then he would just beat the crap out of people.
Nice.
Yeah. He married a white woman, which did not go over well. He was given the name Black Devil because he just would wail on anyone. So I went into this episode thinking about Blossom and Six's friendship, and I ended up thinking about Django Unchained and this guy that just whipped on white dudes back in the 1700s, and it put me in a dark place than a good place. I like this guy. We should do a whole episode on Bill Richmond.
Let's do it. But
All
after
right.
our episode of Gallagher.
Yes. It goes Blossom, Perfect Strangers, Gallagher, Bill Richmond. Strap
Done.
in, folks. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, sure is. As Nick walks in looking disheveled, talking about his gig, all three kids are being overly cheerful towards him, and he's instantly suspicious.
It's funny because, sorry to go back to Bill Richmond, I didn't start a new paragraph, so I went right from the line about him being labeled the, quote, Black Devil for being married to a white woman and beating the crap out of anybody who stepped to him, into Germans destroyed the toilets. And it took me a second to realize what happened there, but that was Nick's story, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he said that he got stuck playing keyboard at I think it was like a German beer festival or something.
Yeah.
Between beer, cigars, bratwurst, and sauerkraut, the men's room was quite a thrill.
Gross.
Right?
Right, like, what is happening this week? It is all over the map. Yeah, so instead of giving him the papers, the kids give him a big hug.
Yeah.
And then he tears into them one by one, just puts them on blast. Joey, did you flunk out of school? Anthony, did you fall off the wagon? And here is a telling moment. What's the worst thing he can think of for his daughter? He says, Blossom, are you pregnant? Way to show your hand there. What a window into the mind of Nick, eh? That's all his kid's worst case scenario.
Well, can you blame him?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
One was a former junkie. One...
is an idiot, and one's a girl.
Yeah, exactly. One's lying about going to makeout parties.
That's true. She did just lie to him last week. Yeah, you're right. Watch out, Blossom.
So they all say, no, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. So then Nick's walking out, and then as he's leaving, he turns around and says, all right, just tell me that you didn't do anything to my car. And then they all say at the same time, we didn't do anything to your car.
Could we pause for 1 second?
Absolutely.
I want to take a look at these outfits. Joey, high-fitting baggy jeans, a purple shirt with suspenders. Anthony, black and yellow polka-dotted silk shirt over top a blue t-shirt. Blossom, apparently went next door and peeled the old lady clothes off of Agnes's decaying corpse. And that's how the kids are dressed. At school, we meet Doris.
And this is the first time we see Blossom School.
Yeah, new set. They're
New
doing
set.
well. Yeah, Doris wasn't a expensive cameo to bring in, so they had money for sets.
Yeah.
And they're not paying for Claire Huxtable and my man Stephen Dorff.
Yeah.
They got Doris at a discount price.
Well, speaking of Doris, she was played by Penina Segal. And she started acting in 1982. She had a handful of guest spots, and Blossom is her last credit.
Well, I think she's doing some sort of vlog or something.
Cool. Shout out to her.
Yeah, absolutely. She's wearing a wig because she shaved her head like Sinead O'Connor. So she didn't like the way she looked because after she shaved her head, she realized she had a giant birthmark on her head.
Yeah.
And without a wig, she looks like Gorbachev,
Yeah, and then some guy walks by and calls her Gorby.
which is a reoccurring joke. I really only know about Gorbachev for the ending of Street Fighter 2.
Oh, yeah.
When you beat the game with Zangief, he comes out and dances with the pride of Russia.
Awesome.
These are the 2 times in my life I've thought about him. When I beat Street Fighter 2 with Zangief.
And now thanks to Blossom.
Now thanks to the mean kids at school teasing the girl with no hair.
Yeah. So, Blossom and Doris go to sit down at the table, and Blossom says she's saving a seat for 6 because they always sit together for lunch. So you know that's going to come up.
She's drinking a big tall glass of foreshadowing.
Absolutely. So she said that she's late for lunch because she's still showing the new girl around the school.
I wrote, here it is, bring it on, bring on the darkness, bring it on. 6 is late because she's showing Adrienne around. Gorbachev says, oh, the new girl's beautiful and cool and cute. And then we see 6 laughing with the new girl. We know who's being puked on this Saturday. It ain't Blossom. And then someone named Bobby walks by and says hi to her. This is the 3rd Bobby. And once again, I look up from my phone where I'm taking notes and I'm like, oh my God, please, 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 please. And it is not Stephen Dorff.
No, but you were right about this. It is the 3rd Bobby in episode 6. In 6 episodes, there have been 3 Bobbies at her school. It's like, do the writers not have any other male teenage name?
They're still in a legal fight with Steven Dorff. and they're like, we are going to bury your character so deep. We are going to introduce a new Bobby every episode so people don't even remember you. And he's like, fine, I'm going to go do an Aerosmith video and I'll be okay. He's so cool.
Oh, God. It just never ends.
I cannot think of him in any other way than when he's in the video with his hat backwards and he's trying to just like low-key get her off the side of the bridge. I don't know. Thanks to this cast, I've thought about that scene every day since we talked about it.
And thanks to this cast, I've thought about that every other day because you bring it up every cast. Oh, right. So 3rd Bobby of the series.
There's more Bobbies than were on the Jack the Ripper case. Oh!
That was really good, man. Well done.
Thanks, right? And now I dropped my pen trying to be dramatic.
That's when you smash the watermelon, walk off the stage.
Gallagher wishes he was that funny.
I'm trying to see if Gallagher's on Cameo.
Oh my God.
And how expensive it would be to get Gallagher to record a video to promote our cast.
You're watching the OK Bloomer podcast. Do you want to smash?
Okay, so you find out that Adrian's super popular. She does the thing where she doesn't remember Blossom's name. She doesn't really seem interested in Blossom at all.
Yeah.
And she's super popular already. All the boys are waving to her from across the cafeteria.
Yep.
And asking her to go sit with them. And that's where Bobby Del Vecchio comes in.
Gotta be a Bobby.
He invites Adrian and Six to go sit with them. And I will give credit to Six here. She says to Blossom, "Oh, let's go." And then Blossom points out she wasn't invited to go.
And then she tells Six to go ahead. And Six says, okay, and starts to go. And then Blossom's like, what are you doing? And some writer was projecting his marriage frustrations hard in this writer's meeting. You told me to do it. That's not what I wanted, but that's not what you wanted? Oh my God. And the 15-year-old that's the producer's kid's like, what? What's going on? I don't get it. She tells her to do something, and he gets mad when she does it because it was a test. Can you believe that? What kind of psycho does that? Am I right?
Yeah, so Blossom said it was the friendship test, and she failed. And she said Lucy does it to Ethel all the time. So then Six ends up going, and then we end the scene in a very sad Blossom sitting at the cafeteria table all by herself.
Oh, I failed. I wrote in big stars, research timeline of that joke. When they reference Lucy and Ethel, I was going to say that'd be like today, us referencing, but I didn't look up the timeline.
Well, let's think of the timeline here. When did I Love Lucy come out? In the 50s?
40 years ago.
Okay.
So
40 years ago would have been...
Oh my God, that'd be us referencing Perfect Stranger.
Hey, it's true.
Would that be? Yeah,
it would be.
So sad music, Blossom sitting by herself.
Sad Blossom.
We go back to the living room. Blossom asks Joey if he's ever lost a best friend. And Joey says, yeah, he turned his back for 1 second in the produce aisle and he was gone. And I put both hands over my mouth and say to myself, dear Lord, they're about to make a vegetable joke on Blossom.
Is that where they were going?
I swear to God, that's probably got cut out. That joke, I feel would have been right on the line in 1991, and I can't think of anywhere else that joke was going. And then they just kind of played it as, awkward, Joey is obtuse moment, which they don't usually do. Usually his dumbness comes with a punchline, and this time it didn't, and I swear that's what got cut out.
You might be right, because there was like, Blossom gave him a blank stare, and there was just kind of silence for a second.
Yeah, like it seemed really weird compared to how the normal flow of the jokes and the give and take of this show goes. Yeah, I swear they cut out a vegetable joke.
So it's at this point Anthony comes down the stairs with his script, and he starts reading out the dialogue that he's written so far. This is his dialogue. Lisa enters. She is gorgeous, wearing almost nothing. Sally enters, equally as gorgeous, wearing slightly less. Harry, the English teacher, speaks. So Anthony wrote a porno.
And he came downstairs to get some Gatorade.
Yeah.
He's just been in his room just writing.
Are we sure that he's not back on drugs?
I don't know.
Is that going to be like a twist in like the season finale of season 1? It'll be like this like smart thing where it was like, oh, I was actually on drugs the whole time. And then you start going back and remembering scenes and you're like, these were the signs that we didn't notice them. We just played it off as humor.
What if he's the only one that's not on drugs?
Whoa.
You're
blowing
right?
my mind, man. So Blossom said it needs work, and Joey said that he's hooked.
And if you're a younger viewer watching this episode, I know you're assuming this 1991 side story is going to end with Anthony learning to respect women, portray them as more than just eye candy in creative fiction. And I'd say that's probably maybe 50% chance of happening. More likely it's just going to go to absolutely nowhere as usual.
You're probably right.
Joey says, well, I'm hooked. And they realize no one's given Dad the papers yet. Blossom steps forward and says, well, I'll do it. And then Dad comes in from the dentist.
As if on cue, Nick walks in. He's got a mouthful of gauze. And again, he's suspicious of how cheerful his children are treating him. So he said that he had a root canal and most of his gums were removed. So then Blossom says she has something to give him and opts to give him another hug instead. And she said, we don't hug enough in this house. And I didn't know if that was like a cheap shot at Full House or something.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too.
Yeah.
Have you noticed they've toned down the random punching that we had like a couple episodes ago where they're just like taking shots at random pop culture people?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it now. I know what you mean. And shots like that, I was like, oh, who's that a shot at? And I don't even know if it's a shot. But they just stopped doing that. I'm looking for it. I made a point of, it's too bad the papers didn't come last week, because Dad's miserable with a mouthful of gauze, where last week he would have been happy with a mouthful of the clarinet player. That's the time to give him the divorce papers.
Totally. When they were getting smashed with Gallagher.
I'm going to make a smashed by Gallagher t-shirt. I can't. Why is that so funny?
I don't know.
Doesn't make. Okay.
Yeah, but it has to be the watermelon on the shirt.
No, just black letters on a white shirt. In Comic Sans.
Everything is funnier in Comic Sans. That should be like an official OK Bloomer t-shirt.
OK Bloomer on the front and on the back. I got smashed by Gallagher. Order yours now. Support the show. We will send you $25 if you order a shirt just to wear it. Oh my god. Okay, Anthony wants to know why Blossom's not at the mall, because it's Monday. And although we've never heard about it before, apparently that's a thing that happens every Monday.
Well, now we know.
Blossom and Six go to the mall.
Yes.
And I love this, where Anthony tries to be a good guy. And he's like, I'll call her. I bet she's sitting at home wondering where you are. Blossom's like, you're right. He calls her, and she's at the mall with Adrian.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
That has happened to me so many times. You try to do something good for someone, and it completely blows up in your face. I was working at Wendy's one time, and this girl was saying how her boyfriend doesn't, like, she feels like he doesn't care about her anymore, and we all knew the guy, because he'd come out a bunch of times when we went out after work, and so we're downplaying, we're like, no, it's just, guys are stupid, and I'm sure he's still completely into you and cares about you, and she's like, no, I think I'm pretty low on his list, and we're like, no, and this was, like, December, so she leaves that night, and she was going home, and this is neither here nor there, but there's this weird off-ramp that's always slippery in one part of the city. And so she took this off-ramp, and it was December, so she slid, and her car came to a stop, kind of half on, half off, and she was okay. It's not like it's like a cliff or anything, but her car was like stuck, half on, half off, this little exit. So she basically hitchhiked back to Wendy's, where we were just closing up, and she's crying, and she uses the phone to call her boyfriend, and so we drive her back to her car, and we're waiting for a tow truck to pull it back up, and we're trying to console her, and her boyfriend finally shows up, and he runs right past her and goes, "My car!"
Oh, man.
I will never forget that. Because, like, what do you say at that moment? You're like,
Right? Wow.
Yeah. That's the
God.
story of my Wendy's coworker and her boyfriend's car. So we get Too Many Cooks, the school edition.
Yes.
We get an exterior of the school. Doris is back with a new wig, but the joke stays the same.
She says, no one will recognize me now. And then a guy walks by and goes, hey, Gorby, how's things in Moscow? So then Six walks up to sit with Blossom. And then Adrian comes over and says, come sit with me and the guys over there. And then references that they're going to see Rupture on the weekend. And then Blossom feels left out.
Yeah, Blossom, can't really take your side on this. Because Six, truthfully, is like, I thought you didn't want to go.
Right.
And Blossom says, well, no, I really did. And Six is like, well, what am I, a mind reader? And she says, well, you have to have a mind to do that. And that doesn't make any sense. And the audience doesn't even know what to do with this. The audience gives it, this is another moment where there's a super delay. And then they get kind of a tepid, like their heart's not into it. And I get it. Nobody wants to see Blossom and Six fight.
No.
Like, I wasn't feeling the storyline at all. I don't know why it didn't work. I mean, it's an obvious go-to.
Yeah.
You're going to have the best friends fight. That's a thing. But I don't know. I couldn't get into it as I have pretty much every other storyline they've thrown at me. I didn't want to see them fight. But yeah, they have it out in the lunchroom.
Yeah, and Blossom has a good line when she's walking away, like how somebody would say, like, oh, I hope you rot in hell. She's like, I hope you get front row seats. And, if you actually look behind her when she's saying that, the girl who plays Doris is cracking up.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
She's like trying not to laugh.
Here's this week's bizarre dream sequence.
Yes.
And I swear to you, this is what I wrote. I'll let you take it away. But my first line is, Blossom is in the kitchen, and she's now dressed like the old lady from the Golden Girls.
I wrote, she looks like Estelle Getty. And that was before the cameo even happened.
I didn't know her name, but that's exactly. Okay, Take it away, Sal. She's dressed like Estelle Getty, and
she's talking on the phone to her dad, and she's telling him that she has a new friend. And here's our cameo. In walks Estelle Getty. And I gotta say, for some reason, when Estelle Getty walked into the kitchen, I popped more for this than any other cameo thus far on the show, and I don't know why. In this dream sequence, she's playing her character because they call her Sophia, which was her name on Golden Girls.
Unreal.
Estelle Getty played Sophia Petrillo on Golden Girls from 1985 to 1992. So when this aired, Golden Girls was still on the air. But Estelle Getty went on to play Sophia in Golden Palace, and she went on to play Sophia again in Empty Nest. So I was wondering what the connection was here, besides that it was an NBC show and they've gotten a lot of NBC characters to come and play cameos thus far. But Golden Girls was a Whit Harris production.
Yeah, it was.
It was produced by Papa Jung himself.
This man is just moving his chess pieces around. He's just smashing action figures together in the sandbox. She claims it's been 66 years and she just now got a new friend.
Yes.
And it's Estelle Getty. And immediately Estelle Getty breaks up with her.
In a very Estelle Getty way, she breaks up with her.
For sure. She says Blossom whines and she has more gas than Exxon. And that's... I don't really want to think about Blossom farting, but here we are. Just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a minute here, though? Can I go, to a weird place with this?
The floor is yours, my friend.
Were you listening with headphones?
No.
Okay. Go back and listen to just this scene with headphones.
Okay.
I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, to be perfectly honest. I listened to this back probably 20 times.
Okay.
Just in this scene, there is an added track of audio in the left channel. It's like somebody added their own laughter over top the laugh track years later.
Really?
It is the bizarrest thing, and I only picked up, you can hear it. You can hear it clear as day.
Yeah.
It's somebody doing, trying to do a crappy job on purpose. Immediately after that joke, there's a voice just on the left side that goes, whoa! And then he crappy laughs at the rest of the jokes until the scene ends. He's like, oh! It's so wild. I don't know if it's whoever uploaded it to Disney Plus just did that to see if anybody would notice or to tell his friends, But there is an added track. There's an added audio track on the left side of just this scene of some guy acting shitty.
I kind of want to take a pause right now and go listen to this.
It's so wild.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. It just doesn't fit. Because there's no way he would be that clear in the studio audience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Weird, man.
So that's my deep conspiracy theory. I have no idea, but that guy's my hero. Somebody at Disney Plus is adding his own laugh track.
Maybe the intern was taking on more responsibility, and they're like, yeah, you can start encoding these episodes too. And he was like, fuck it, I'm going to add in my own sounds.
Sweet.
They're never going to watch
this.
this.
My laughter? It's probably Gallagher.
It's always Gallagher.
Yeah, but it's trippy, man. Like, I was freaking out. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what it was. It was just somebody being an idiot and adding there somewhere along the process. And then it's gone after this next scene. You don't hear him again.
Weird.
So somewhere, somebody is playing that for his friends, thinking no one else ever caught it. But I fucking did, buddy. I fucking caught it. I'm on to you.
So Sophia, Estelle Getty, says that she's leaving Blossom. She's met a new friend, and she brings her in, and it's her friend named 60, which is a good joke.
I hated myself for laughing out loud about that. I was like, come on, Curtis, you're better than this.
In walks 6, also looking like Estelle Getty.
Right?
And then 6 says they better hurry up. They have to get to the shuffleboard court because there's some young guys there that they want to pick up. And then Estelle says, how young? And 60 says, they're breathing.
So stupid.
So then Blossom dramatically wakes up in her bed again, tossing and turning, saying, don't leave me, don't leave me. And it's a sad moment because the camera zooms in on her slowly while sad piano music plays. But I don't see how this is supposed to be taken seriously at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It put me in a weird place, too, because every night I go to sleep screaming, don't leave me to my wife. So I can relate.
Fair enough.
It's always so awkward for the camera guy in the corner of our bedroom, too.
Surprise twist, the camera guy's Gallagher.
Right? He's like, is it smash time, Andersons?
Should I pull the clear sheet over my head yet? Oh, God. As I was saying it, I knew that was too far.
No, that was good. Just keep your eyes closed like usual. I'll come tap you on the top of the head when we're done.
Next scene.
Gallagher!
Oh, I love
I
this.
have thought more about Gallagher tonight than the rest of my life on this planet.
You're welcome.
We gotta get him back.
We'll bring him
Gotta
back.
start a GoFundMe for Gallagher. I guess he never left. So in the next scene, Nick's a crazy person. He's forcing the whole family to play board games until they tell him what's wrong.
Yeah. It's like his own form
And
of
that's
torture.
a sign of the times. 90s kids act like it's a punishment fit for hell, and I don't know. I like playing board games with my kids.
I know. That's not a punishment to me.
Right? I was like, my kids enjoy games.
Yeah.
But they also have a mom.
Fair enough.
I apologize. I didn't mean that. I wrote that and winced and was like, no, I'm making myself laugh here.
Made me laugh.
So I apologize to the 3 people listening if that was an insensitive joke.
That's okay, because the best line of the entire show is coming up in this scene.
Which is?
Nick goes into the kitchen to get snacks, and then all the kids are conspiring what to do while he's in there. Joey said he couldn't do it. He said that their dad is just too lonely. Nick walks back in, and they continue playing Trivial Pursuit. So then Anthony picks the category weights and measurements. And the question is teed up perfectly for Anthony. Because Nick says the question is, what is 28 grams? And Anthony's response, that's about $2,500 plus mandatory jail time. And that got the biggest laugh of the episode from the audience as well as me.
In my mind, someone hit a home run into the lights and there were fireworks.
Yeah. The audience even clapped. There was a clap break.
Blossom, ladies and gentlemen. I also thought the joke would have worked if when he asked, what's 28 grams? And then there's just a close-up of Anthony who slowly looked right into the camera with his eyebrows up like, can you believe this? I said the crowd loves that one, but Nick had to explain it.
Yeah.
Which kind of killed it a little bit.
It did.
Like, we get it. We get it, Nick. He tries to be the master of reverse psychology and says if anyone wants to leave, they can, and the boys bail, leaving Nick and Blossom. So Nick's sitting down at the piano, and I thought to myself, oh God, I hope he starts playing his own sad piano music as they have this moment. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that
how
would be
meta would
great.
that have been?
Yeah.
If he starts playing himself, the character, starts playing sad piano music as they have this heart to heart.
That would be so perfect.
So he tells her to go see Six. Blossom says she's not friends with Six anymore.
This was kind of like the lesson for Blossom in this episode.
Yeah.
She was just saying, what's going on with Six and that new girl Adrian and how they went to the concert without her. Blossom explains what Rupture's all about, and Nick says, well, that's a tough act to follow.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, so then Nick says, why don't you just go and try and find Six and work it out? And Blossom says, well, what if it doesn't work out? And then Nick says, well, then you have to let her go. And I think that's our lesson here for the week. It's kind of parallel with what's going on with Nick himself, right?
Absolutely. But you missed where he says, quote, you can't force someone to stay with you. And I wrote, careful, buddy, you're about to have that thrown right back in your face. But yeah, this is the lesson. And it's a good one.
Yeah, I think so.
So he says, pick another friend and he'll buy the tickets and she can go with her other friend. And she gives him a kiss and gives him the divorce papers.
Yes.
And he says, what's this? And she says,
it's reality.
boom. That's a good scene.
Yeah, I liked it.
It doesn't seem quite as forced when suddenly they have these serious moments as most sitcoms. I think that's a strength of the show. I don't roll my eyes when I see it coming.
Right.
They seem to manage to actually put the proper amount of weight to these scenes, and I seriously appreciate that. Like, hats off to the writing staff and the actors for pulling that off, because usually those transitions are pretty hard.
I agree. But first we have to get to the concert.
Yeah, she's in line with Gorby.
Yes. And I also... did you take note of what Blossom's wearing?
I didn't.
We have a second hat of the series, but she's dressed like Akeem the African Dream.
Okay, yes, I did notice that.
Like,
and I think I wrote that, then crossed it out because I wasn't sure how to properly say that, and then I wrote it again and crossed it out. But yeah, she's dressed like Akeem, the African Dream from WWE.
Yeah.
Absolutely she is. Wait, hold on. I did write, did Blossom join the Nation of Domination? She asks why Blossom didn't buy a shirt, but she bought a souvenir finger to make yourself throw up, and that's... Oof. I know it's not in the same context of, like, bulimia, but that would not make it to air in 2021.
In addition to just being really gross.
Yeah, that's fair. You can see this coming a mile away, but of course Six shows up and asks Gorby to cut in line for the bathroom because she broke the rule and had 4 jumbo sodas.
Yes.
And I raise my eyebrows at 6. Because maybe she's doing this, to patch things up with Blossom. But I'm looking at her going, girl, if you're going to pee your pants, why wouldn't you ask to cut in front of, like, the next person in line for the bathroom, not mid-line?
They were, like, the end of the line, I thought. She's cutting one
yeah, actually,
person.
I guess they were.
Yeah.
I like to think they could just pee in their oversized hats if it ever came to that, too.
They might have to.
It's always there. It's always an option. It's not the best option.
But it is an option. So she says, excuse me, lady, do you mind if I cut in front of you? I really have to go to the bathroom. And then she explains about the 4 sodas. And then Doris responds with, yeah, you can cut in front of me, Six. And then Six says, oh, Doris, I didn't even recognize you. And then that makes Doris happy. She says, oh, great. And then she says, hey, Blossom, I'm going to go back to the seats. And she walks away. And as she walks away, you hear somebody in the crowd just go, hey, Gorby.
Sometimes off-camera jokes are super effective and funny, and this is one of those times.
Yeah, it worked for me. It was awesome. It's fun when the audience laughs at mild bullying. This is mild bullying.
Totally. This is the exact spot I wrote, Blossom looks like she joined the Nation of Domination. So they have it out. They ping-pong blame back and forth. And I want to give props to Mayim again, the actress. She plays this really well, where they're fighting back and forth, and then suddenly she has a revelation that actually this could be her fault. Because they go back and forth, and she's like, we always go to the malls on Monday, Six. And Six goes, I know. I went and you weren't there. And Blossom goes, I wasn't there. I thought she played that so perfectly as like an actress. It would have been so easy to play that just over the top, but no, she lands it. It's great. Yeah, big thumbs up for that. And then they have their moment where Blossom says her new friend Adrian is gorgeous and sophisticated and popular, and Six says, yeah, just like you. And the crowd goes, aw, because they feel that one. They hug, Six pees her pants, and I go, gorgeous, sophisticated, sure. Popular? All right.
Yeah, well, she's hanging out with Corby, so...
That's true, right? She comes home and
Nick's playing the Blossom theme on the piano.
Yeah!
It sounded like it at first.
No, I totally thought it was as well.
So Nick asks how the concert was. Blossom says, loud, horrible, and disgusting. Nick says, ooh, style and content. So Blossom's happy that her and Six made up. So then Blossom reveals to him that they'd all been holding the divorce papers all week because they didn't want to upset him. And then this is when they have a serious talk about the relationship between Nick and the mother. And then Blossom says, she still has the fantasy that her parents are going to get back together. And then Nick tells her that it's over. He says they weren't very happy in the last year of their marriage. And he says, this way is better. It's harder, but it's better. And Blossom just doesn't want it to be final. So it's understandable. They're both coming at it from their point of view of the situation. And I mean, in a way, it makes sense that the kids were having a hard time giving them the papers, too, because I never thought about it until Blossom points it out at this part is, she knows that once he signs that paper, it's officially over with her parents.
Oh, man, my mind was blown at this part. Another, standing ovation for the writers, because this is the swerve. After all this, with the kids not wanting to give him the papers to make him mad, it was the kids that didn't want the divorce to be final. Nick doesn't care. I thought that was amazing. I didn't even see that coming at all.
Me neither. It was really well done. I wrote the piano moment of the week is actually at the piano.
Oh, this show, man.
The episode ended on a very heavy note.
Yeah.
Nick walks over to the coffee table. He looks through the papers, and then he officially signs off on them. And Blossom's watching him from the stairs, and it's just cutting back and forth between their reaction to the moment.
I wrote, we freeze frame to a downer ending.
It was a super downer ending.
And good for them. Hell yeah, give us a downer ending.
I was expecting it to be like any other sitcom would end, where it'd be the kids are all fumbling all week to hide the papers from him, and then when he gets the papers, he'd be like, oh, well, these are just the backup copies. I had these all along, and whatever. I was ready to sign them anyway. Screw her.
Yeah.
And he would make some punchline joke, and it'd be like, oh, well, it's all okay. We didn't have to hide it from our dad in the long run.
All this for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that wasn't the case at all.
It was a great ending. They'd give it to us. I said that a couple weeks ago, where I was like, I wonder if they're going to actually have the guts to end it on a sour, not everybody made up note. And they kind of gave it to us this week. It didn't end all happy in a hug. As usual, I've only not enjoyed one episode. So this is moving along really well. Actually, again, I didn't expect to be enjoying the show as much as I'm enjoying the show, but it's pretty solid, man. It's so solid we have to riff on Gallagher instead of anything that actually happens in the episode.
The actress who played Adrian was named...
Sweet Amy Brooks.
Yes.
She is a B-movie scream queen.
Cool.
She has been in a lot of B movies. Sorority House Massacre, Critters 3, Hillside Strangler, closed for the season. Yeah, good stuff. Michael Landis was Bobby, and I wrote, screw him. There's only one Bobby in the Blossomverse that counts, and that's Stephen Effendorf. Okay, so who are the discarded characters?
So we have Agnes.
We have Bobby. We have Nick's girlfriend that wore dead mothers. No, not dead.
Elaine.
Gone mothers. Elaine.
So we have Nick, Bobby, Elaine.
Hold on. Elaine wore mom's apron. That was the thing.
Yes.
Okay, so we have Agnes, Bobby, Nick's girlfriend Elaine, kleptomaniac Stephanie, and horny clarinet. Did I get them?
I think you're right.
And episode 6, does Doris ever come back?
Okay, well, here's something interesting. So this is the end of Doris, but she appears in another episode 2 seasons later as a character named Karen.
No.
Yeah.
Ah.
So she comes back.
She would be on our list twice then. But it's a different character.
Right.
That's fascinating.
And Adrian.
Yeah, alright. The tag team of Doris and Adrian. One woe so far. Blossom has worn 2 crazy hats, and this is what I call the discarded character pit. We have Agnes from episodes 1, 2, and 3. We have Pour One Out for my man Steven Dorff, played Bobby in episode 2. We never see him again. In episode 3, we have Nick's girlfriend Elaine, who wore their mother's apron. We never see her again. Episode 4, we have a kleptomaniac Stephanie. She's gone. Episode 5, we have the horny clarinet player. I don't remember her name, but she's never coming back. And episode 6, our first ever tag team. The combination of Doris and Adrian are gone forever from the Blossom universe, never to return.
That's it, man.
Tie a bow on it. Episode 6.
Next week on the show, we are talking Season 1, Episode 7 of Blossom, titled, Thanks for the Memorex. Think on that one for the next week.
All right. I'll be here.
Should I pull the clear sheet over my head yet? Oh, God. As I was saying it. Gallagher!